Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of The Outer Worlds Murder on Eridanos. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you're chose to join me today as we visit the Prophet of Profitability and finally get to meet her, hopefully. Well, she might not be here, because the footsteps were leading away from this place, but my character, she's not very smart, so she can't put two and two together unless the quest markers tell her to. It's actually something I've been thinking about more and more as we play this this DLC. It feels like we're not really going to have a whole lot of piecing together action to do, which I feel is not wholly surprising considering the nature of the game, but it is disappointing nonetheless because...
Great work.
Yes, stealing from people. Because the, whodunits and mysteries like these, it requires a game with the systems like the journal or note-keeping or the dialogue system itself being oriented towards... What? Being oriented towards having investigation, and that's just not what this game does. I mean, it could do, but on a scale of a whole DLC, no. It can do it in one or two quests, and we have done it in one or two quests. But right now we're just following quest markers because all this is new. Excuse me.
The Prophet's treatments are intense. I nearly collapsed during the last session.
And a good example right there of they do that a lot. They don't do that a lot in this game, but Obsidian does it, and there's just so many companies do it so often. She said that line, and there was somebody else with a different voice actor who said that line exactly, and they went to the through the trouble. That's how the THs and the T's work there. They went through the trouble of yes, that is where we need to go. Of recording the two lines with two different people. But they didn't... They should have just written two different lines. Oh my god. It just feels... It's... I don't know. It's just like... It's wrong. It's just wrong that you have the same line recorded by multiple people. And you... Like, it doesn't serve any purpose.
Nicely done.
It doesn't immerse you in the game and being like, oh, everybody says things. No, it doesn't. It makes it seem like it's a video game because everybody says the same thing. It's clearly a way of I think it's got to do with the workflow of recording in the booth. And they just have all the barks, and they just, because barks, it takes effort and talent and skill to write them all. I say barks, but that's technically not a bark. A bark would be a combat dialogues thing. I don't know what those are called, but, the things when you talk to a person and they just say one line to you, that's that thing. And those need to be written, and they're difficult to write, and they're important. But, oh, yeah. You guys deal with that. I'm rambling here. But the thing is, it's just wrong because it's better to have the same line. It just doesn't add. Parvati's not holding on. You're also not shooting. I don't. That is okay. Thank you. It's like it's the whole. I used to be an adventurer like you, and then I took an arrow to the knee. Every single voice actor in Oblivion or Skyrim, rather, in that one, every single voice actor has said that line. So there's a lot of people with saying that exact line, and that is. The world is beautiful beyond compare. I can see colors I never imagined existed. Fun fact, they don't exist. Colors, they don't exist. I mean, not, it's, I mean, that's not incorrect for somebody to write, but that's not how it works. I'm gonna ramble about that as well. The sky has a voice, and it's singing to me. I see the truth now. I see everything so clearly, so perfectly. The storms of Eridanos are notes in a great cosmic orchestra. The stars are the chair of the universe, and every word they sing is joy. I can't seem to stop smiling. I don't want to stop smiling, ever. Oh, and this is clearly, that's because of the drugs in your system, because of the grub borrowing into your neck or something, and that might have been what killed you. Yeah, but about the colors, Colors don't exist in the sense, I mean, they do exist, obviously, but the point is, when I say it like this, then you're giving the word existing a different meaning. When you can see things that you didn't imagine existing or before, right? Then you're assigning an external property to whether something exists or not. Like, for example, you see, oh, I saw ghosts and I didn't imagine they existed, right? Because now you're saying they existed because you saw them. Now that it means that they existed even though you didn't see them before. Colors don't work like that. Colors only exist as long as we can see them. That's what colors are. Colors are just colors are just our brain's interpretation of our eyes' color receptors, or whatever they're called. They have a name. Our eyes have 3 color receptors, normally, and they each receive... Can we?
Look at us.
Smile.
That worked out. And they each receive a little bit of information in the color spectrum. So let's say, for example... Oh, look at that! We could look at this. Let's say, for example, that we have the lower frequencies of light, which is how it works, and you have the higher frequencies of light. And that's just it. That's light. Light has frequency. And the colors are different colors. Not just... It's really funny, actually. It's really interesting. It's a really mind scrub to think about that. But colors don't exist like that color over there is a color, and that color over there is a different color. They don't exist like that in our eyes, or in reality, because that's what colors are. They exist when you mix those two together. Imagine we can't see this. This is infrared, and that's the lower frequencies of color, or longer wavelengths. The frequencies and wavelengths are related. So that's infrared. We don't see that. But over here we have just red. That's our red receptor for our colors. And then over here, which this is actually quite kind of the same, because over here we would have let's say the green and the blue. That's not quite how the colors match up, but let's say they're actually closer together in the spectrum, because red is actually a little bit further apart. And we have the green over here, and then the blue. And so if our receptor just detects red over here, then we see red, right? And if our receptor just detects, or receptors just detect green, we see green. If they detect blue, then we see blue. Now, if they detect the same over there, let's blue and green, that would be cyan? Yes, because it's it's the inverted color, so it's cyan. And so if they detect both of those the same amount, we see cyan. If the red and the green detect the same amount, we see magenta. No? No, we do not. Red... Do we see yellow? Yes. Red and green is yellow. I'm trying to think... I'm not very good on color theory. The point is, what I'm trying to say here is that there's another color, and I think that's magenta, which is when the blue... And also purple. But magenta and purple, they're close together. It's when the blue and the red receive the same amount of light in our eyes, but the green one doesn't. And we see a color. And none of those colors, even the ones that is just red and just yellow, none of those exist. But this one exists the least of all of them, if you want to put it like that. Because it's not a point in the spectrum. It's like a triangle. And now can you imagine the clown shrimp? Look up clown shrimp. There's some hilarious videos on YouTube about it. Clown shrimp is a really beautiful animal. It's a shrimp, and like many aquatic animals, it has a very complex set of eyes, and it has 17 color receptors, each one of them responsible for seeing a little bit in the color spectrum. It's not quite as simple as that. There's some redundant ones, but we don't talk about that. But basically, it doesn't see in 17 colors as much as we don't see only 3 colors, right? We don't see just red, green, and blue. We see all the combinations, right? But yeah, that thing sees 17 colors plus that's 17 to the 17th. I think is that how it's calculated? Because then I don't know how to calculate the interaction. There's probably like a term in maths for you to say, because you would have, it's a set, isn't it? You have just red. You have just one of them, and then you have one of them mixed with each one of these two, and then you have all 3 together, But you have that one of them mixed with one of the two 3 times. It's weird. Anyway, maths and colors. Colors don't exist, is what I'm saying. If you see the colors, then you're seeing them, and they're as real as the other ones.
Nice.
Thank you, Parvati. I know you understand this geeky talk. There's some good stuff on you. I don't know what you're doing here. Why didn't you open? What? Did they make a... No, they did not make a fake elevator. That we were just waiting for it to show up. Let's just explore the rest of the place, though, because we have, obviously, this computer. Warning, supervisor clearance required. Accessing this terminal without supervisor clearance will result in an informal reprimand. Rizzo's requires that any informal reprimands must be brought to the attention of your supervisor and will result in a formal reprimand. Happy customers are repeat customers. Let's open the last entry over here from Human Resources Division Rizzo's Corporate to a Zhao, or Zhao A. How would that work? Because it's, I assume, Chinese. So the name... No, wait, in Chinese, it's like in English, where the surname comes after. And the first Japanese is the one that's the other way around. Subject notice of... Is that Korean as well? Does Korean put surnames? Either way, that's not Korean, I don't think. Subject notice of expiration. Dr. Amir Zhao. This is to inform you that Rizzo's has been notified of your expiration due to one or more of the following causes. Number 1, violent physical trauma. Number 2, accidental encounter with local fauna. And before I proceed to number 3 and number 4, this expiration here is the person died. Number 3, severe physiological reaction to company and company adjacent products. Number 4, destruction of company property. After careful review, Rizzo's Office of Human Resources has approved the dissolution of your indenturement contract, which is their contracts, their employees for life in this setting. In accordance with Rizzo's company law, your closest living relatives will be rewarded the following. 1, regulation size crate of Rizzo Spectrum Brown to be delivered within 6 to 8 weeks of product launch. Please note that as a gesture of gratitude for your service, your shipping and delivery fees have been waived. Your work on behalf of Rizzo's Geological Survey team has proved invaluable in the development of an upcoming launch of Rizzo Spectrum Brown. Thank you for being part of the Rizzo's family. This is an automated message. Responses to this message have been disabled. And that's actually that's the nicest I've ever seen any company be in this setting. That's the nicest. They give them stuff. That's incredible. Query supervisor clearance over here. Accessing information on supervisor clearance. Supervisor clearance has been granted to Ludovico Q and Zhao A. Zhao A, incidentally, who has died. Please note, in accordance with Rizzo's company policy, supervisor's clearance is a privilege, not a right. Clearance may be revoked in the event of a gross misuse, behavior contrary to Rizzo's company values, or dissident adjacent behavior. Again, it's all very reasonable, which is not the same as there are a lot of other stuff. And then we can access usage record supervisor clearance over here. Error, data corruption detected. Usage records inaccessible. Now generating error report. Error! Exclamation mark. Error report corrupted. Failsafe protocol activated. Now dumping memory contents. Dump successful. Access? Yes, please. And then now printing memory contents. And we have... I don't know what we're looking at because that's not hexadecimal. It could be hexadecimal, but it isn't. What the hell are we looking at? Decata over there? Ominous? Arivsdaw? I don't know. We can isolate a passcode. We can also identify a pattern. Let's go with that. It's apparently a passcode. Oh, right there. Cavill 4620. Cavill 4620. I don't know what that... Oh, I know what that is. That's plain text memory. That's kind of weird. Memory doesn't look like that when printed. It's usually a lot of zeros because it's in sectors and a bunch of things. But yeah, basically those letters were just random memory access, or random access memory. That's how I should say. Oh, didn't mess with you. No, there were just random access memory printed out, and in the middle of there were some a password, but usually it's not written into memory like that. That's actually a very big what's the word? Safety? No, security issue? Yeah. So basically, every time, it's not every time. Not all software does proper RAM access or RAM management, but ideally, if you're typing in your password, the hashing is done very early on, so it can scrub itself. So, like for example, imagine you put in, let's say, I don't know. It's kind of complicated to give an example, but imagine you're accessing a website, and you type in your password, you type in your username, and then you log in. Now the website ideally doesn't remember what your password is. It just checks to see if that is the correct password. The process through which it does that is called hashing rather than encryption, which it can be done through encryption, but that's bad. You don't encrypt the passwords because that means that you are storing the passwords in data. But the thing is, the hashing gets done, and so the website just throws the information away as soon as they know that you're in there in the website, right? And this happens with computer software as well. The point is that you can go back, in a web page, right? And imagine if you went back and the password is still written there, as like for example some forums do. Modern web browsers don't allow for this, what I'm saying, but imagine that was the case. How does the computer know? Well, that's pretty straightforward. How does the computer know that what was in there, whether it's a login form or if it's just a mail me form or whatever? Any time that you access a web page and things are already filled up, how does the computer know what to fill up? Well, it's in memory, and usually what it will be done in memory, it is going to be a bunch of just mumbo jumbo that doesn't matter for our eyes. The computer wants to know, but it's basically all those letters and numbers that we saw, and then in the middle there will be like plain text bits in there. Now, that can also be not stored in plain text, but the point is, if it isn't stored in plain text in one place, it's going to be stored in plain text in another place because of the way computers work. Basically, imagine you have a database, right? And the password is over here, not in plain text. And when I say plain text, I mean not in text that you can read with your eyes. It's like ones and zeros or encrypted. Encrypted is a better term for that. So the computer is going to have to access it without it being encrypted. So it accesses that database entry, unencrypts it, and then at the moment it unencrypts it, it needs to store it so it knows what it is. So it stores it in another database entry. So you have the encrypted bit over there, and then further down into the database or the RAM or whatever, you have the plain text one, so it's always there. It's kind of complicated. But anyway, VU Lab notes, warning, 556 entries found. A bunch of corrupted stuff. Run a recovery routine. Let's do that. Failed to recover a bunch of them except for two. Two files available. We have log 2 over here. Eridanos gigaseus. Research notes number 2. The parasite seems completely incompatible with a common sprat. This is baffling and disappointing. I have a few theories. Number 1, sprat nucleotides are highly adaptive. Eridanos gigaseus, or whatever it's pronounced, or however it's pronounced, is a half-complete creature. Adaptive mutations in sprat physiology render it a pure host to the parasite. Number 2, Eridanos gigaseus, or whatever, has a particular and discerning sense of taste and finds sprats accordingly distasteful. Option 2 is ridiculous to me, but not strictly speaking impossible. Could both be true. I'm delirious. Will delete in the morning. And that's from Dr. Amit Zhao, team biologist, Rizzo's Department of Geological Survey. Wait, does this have anything to do with... Obviously, we're talking about the grubs that burrow into people's necks, but does that have anything to do with the development of Spectrum Brown? Access log 1, Eridanos gigaseus research number 1. I have completed my final round of total immersion, suspension, and exposure tests. As expected, Eridanos gigaseus dissolves in acid, burns in fire, and can be disintegrated or otherwise destroyed with N-rays or concentrated blasts of plasma. The creature is vulnerable when alone, however, bonding with a host evokes intensely protective behavior from that host. Safeguarding the parasite becomes the host's primary objective, even to the point of aggression and violence. The creature also seems well suited to long-term hibernation and immersion in a liquid suspension. Water and and low-grade alcohols preserve the creature, its metabolic systems, such as they are, slow to a halt, and exposed to a host, the creature emerges from its dormant state and immediately attempts to attach itself to the host's nervous system. Long-term dormancy in an alcoholic solution may prove useful to corporate. I'll prepare my report tomorrow. Yeah, that's Spectrum Brown. That's gonna be Spectrum Brown, isn't it? Continuing my research for more suitable hosts among common fauna, very promising results from terror rays. Their biological system is well suited to hosting the parasite. My theory: the parasite enjoys exposure to the atmosphere of Eridanos and may be manipulating the terror rays into more frequent and aggressive flight. In every case, the parasite successfully manipulated production of hormones in the host's brain. I don't know how yet. The implications of a parasite manipulating its host troubles me. Its nervous system is exotic and difficult to understand. I can't quite shake the idea that the parasite does not require contact with its host in order to influence its behavior. This seems a little bit bad. As in, it's bad science. When humans are in pain, for example, we produce endorphins. What are they called? I say endorphins because that is what they are, but there's a certain name for what they are. Basically, whenever we are in pain, we produce hormones. Is it hormones though? It wouldn't be called a hormone. But even if they are, they're basically chemicals that our body produces, and that means that any parasite that makes pain, or that is painful, successfully manipulates our brain into producing hormones, or at least endorphins. So, yeah. Anyway, a suitably large and complex specimen may be able to manipulate the mood of a sentient creature by proximity alone. Maybe, possibly. These ideas are unscientific, I was talking about that before, and founded on my own anxieties. My nightmares have been muddying my thoughts. Should seek treatment soon. And then he died somehow. Well, that's a puzzle for later, I assume. But it may be related to the whole production of Rizzo Spectrum Brown. I'm a little bit lost on where I'm supposed to go now, but I mean, I'm not, because there's the quest marker. But where I've been is the question. So that's blocked. Got sprats all over the place. And then we have that thing that we opened. Look at you teleporting properly. Good stuff. Where are we going? This doesn't feel like where I want to go. Nope, it does not feel like where I want to go. There's enemies. Oh, there they are. No, that's a canid host. Didn't mean to do that. Hello. Do you have... What? Parasite. Mega canid host. These are all friendlies. Huh. Okay. Let's not be here for the time being. See, teleporting properly. Let's not be there because obviously I have to. Disturbed ground. What? I have to go there, but what the hell is disturbed ground supposed to mean? Oh. Because of the prophet. No, it's outside. Okay, that makes sense. I was gonna be like, we're pursuing the prophet. Oh, she's in here! I'm very good. I know exactly where to go.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby.
Really? Because it doesn't... Oh, you don't... What?
Analysis suggests this to be a variety of herbs. Herbs have been uniformly treated with a pungent chemical mix. Warning. Ingesting, smoking, or inserting non-corporation sanctioned substances into your ears may be harmful to your health.
Into my ears. Can you analyze the chemicals these herbs are treated with?
Analyzing complete. Substance appears to be a mix of industrial solvents and various essential oils. Substances include woolly cow dander remover, sprat oil, and starship surface wax.
Discrepancy amplifier. How would these most likely be used?
Prior analysis suggests these herbs reach peak effectiveness when users burn them and inhale the resulting smoke. Whether or not this increased effectiveness is good for an afflicted individual has yet to be determined.
Alright, I'm gonna make note of it. Let's move on. And also, let's say goodbye for the time being, because we are out of time for the day. So for right now, I'm Critical RPG, and this has been The Outer Worlds Murder on Eridanos. I really hope you've enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and leave a comment. Like the video if you want to see the next episode come out sooner rather than later. But above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.